What is going on, everybody? Got a quick video for you here. Judging from the feedback from last week's video on trash gear, most of you have been aimlessly hoarding loot for quite a while now. Well, as promised, I'm back with the next video on trash weapons. Hopefully this episode will help with the next step in decluttering your stash so you can get back to just playing the game and having fun. So without further ado, it's time to stop hoarding. So this video is all about weapons, and I'll be covering the best weapons in the game as well as the best weapon talents to have on those weapons. And when it comes to weapons, gear score matters. But then again, it doesn't, and here's why. This is the damage ranges for an ACR assault rifle at gear score 450. And this is the damage ranges for the same ACR at gear score 500. Keep in mind, this doesn't include talents or anything, it's just the weapon's known default damage numbers. I'll be sure to link my sources for this information as well as other community resources in the description below so that you can make your own educated choices as necessary. Considering the fact that we're all in World Tier 5, most of our weapons should be around gear score 490, give or take, which means comparing damage rolls on similar weapons is ultimately the key to finding out which weapon is stronger. Keep in mind, certain talents will increase your damage roll significantly, but we'll get into those specific talents in just a minute. Just know that weapon damage carries more weight than gear score when comparing weapons within 10 to 15 gear score points from each other. Understand that there is a literal shit ton of weapons in this game, and most of them are decent. Therefore, I can't just outright say, choose this one because everything else is not worth it. The comment section simply won't allow me to get away with that bullshit. So let's do this a little differently this time. Let's talk about the best weapons in each weapon category by focusing on the outliers. Starting with the assault rifles, the P416 for both burst damage and sustained damage, with a huge shout out to the new exotic AR, the Eagle Bearer. It's basically the Incredible Hulk to the P416's Bruce Banner. Not endgame, chill hipster Incredible Hulk. We're talking first Avengers, I'm always angry, Hulk smash Incredible Hulk. And if you're a P416 user, you have every reason to be excited about this thing. Now, there are plenty of other viable ARs in this category, but the P416 is the current champion in the community. For SMGs, on paper, it's the SMG9 for burst and the T81 for sustained damage. Again, lots of other SMGs to choose from here, but we all know the winner in this group is the Vector if you can get the talents and the mods right. For LMGs, the M60 across the board, with an honorable mention to the M249. For rifles, the MK17 across the board as well, with an honorable mention to the SIG. For shotguns, the double barrel and the Spaz 12, with the AA12, formerly known as the Showstopper, as a good option as well. For marksman rifles, the M700 and the SVD. But we all know the Nemesis is king, and it's arguably better than the TAC 50. That is if you do the work to get your hands on one. And lastly, for pistols, the M1911 and the PX4. I rarely use pistols beyond shooting yellow locks off fences, so pistols for me are for getting the right holster talent more than anything else. Speaking of talents, because of how recalibration works, checking for good talents on lower gear score as well as lower damage weapons is paramount. These talents can be recalibrated onto higher gear score and higher damage weapons as long as they're the same archetype. Like gear, weapon talent archetypes are signified by the icon right below their logo. Equipped and holstered talents are the circle, handling talents are the circle with the line through it, and active talents are the circle with the triangle inside of it. Again, you can recalibrate active talent for active talent or handling talent for handling talent, but not active talent for handling talent and vice versa. That being said, storing a few unpopular weapons in your stash because they have good talents is highly recommended. Those talents can be recalibrated onto much better weapons somewhere down the line, improving your build and enhancing your playstyle. Like the weapons themselves, there are a ton of weapon talents in the game. But remember, my videos are meant to be short and to the point, so we're going to simply highlight the best ones and move on. Starting with the active talents and in no particular order as far as dominance: close and personal, frenzy, premeditated, strained, and unhinged. These talents increase your weapon's overall damage output and lethality, and they are by far the current workhorses in the community when it comes to building. Again, a ton of other talents here, and just because I didn't mention them doesn't mean they're bad. We only want to highlight the ones that are most universal and beneficial. For handling, the best talent is Allegro without a doubt, so generally this is the talent you want on most of your weapons. But things don't always go our way because RNG is a bastard, so sometimes you have to look for a diamond in the rough, like having optimized on an LMG that also has Unhinged as its active talent. These two talents synergize and balance each other out. That's a huge damage increase without a serious loss of weapon handling. Lastly, the best equipped and holstered talent is Stop, Drop, and Roll. I love this talent. Roll it on your pistol and forget about it. Trust me, you will love this talent too. Now, whenever you're on fire, just do a combat roll and the status effect is canceled. And because it's so second nature to combat roll out of danger, this is ultra strong in both PvP and PvE, which means ultimately this talent will save your life. The same goes for In Rhythm, Protected Deploy, and Protected Reload. Look to roll these onto your weapons to support your playstyle. Got an On the Ropes build? Protected Deploy is your best friend. Like to face tank, or maybe you're super allergic to using cover? Protected Reload is your wingman. Again, lots of other talents here, and I'm sure they have their own benefits, but holistically, the aforementioned are by far the most useful. Now, I will say the game is still young, and rebalances happen. The only certainty is that loot comes too fast in-game to be hoarding trash talents because you think it'll give you an advantage sometime in the unforeseen future. Currently, there are several exotics in the game, and unlike the Division 1, some of them are actually pretty damn good. The most notable of which are the Chatterbox, the Nemesis, and the current sweetheart and newcomer, the Eagle Bearer. Considering how exotics don't fall from the sky anymore, and obtaining one requires effort as well as proper research, I think exotics are in a really good place right now. Especially because once you obtain one, you keep it forever, like luggage. Meaning with every future gear score increase, we will have an opportunity to upgrade our exotics to the next max gear score level. Therefore, you can have the same exotic weapon indefinitely. So farming them and keeping them in your stash is truly a wise decision. Overall, what to keep and what to toss is totally up to you and your playstyle. This may sound like a cheap cop-out on my part, but I truly believe this to be the case. In the Division 1, I was an SMG player. I only used assault rifles as secondaries to hit targets at distances outside the range of my SMG. In the Division 2, that has changed. I'm not into SMGs anymore. I mean, besides the Chatterbox, but that's mostly for the holster talent. Now I use LMGs and ARs without even considering shotguns, rifles, and marksman rifles. They simply aren't how or what I want to play with. So for me, shotguns, rifles, and marksman rifles are all trash. The same with pistols. Now I know these are some pretty harsh words, but I say that to say this. You may love shotguns. You may love rifles. You might be John fucking Wick when it comes to pistol builds. But chances are there is at least one weapon type that you do not play with. And if you don't play with it, why are you hoarding it? And ultimately, that question is the key to keeping your stash decluttered at all times. And I can say with certainty that you would not have made it this far into this second video if you weren't already on the fence about dumping some of the weapons currently in your stash. So for now, go get those weapons sorted, and I'll start working on the next video on trash mods. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for watching. Take care, everybody.